Today on DNVR Broncos Live, will there be a steal available at 20? Potentially the steal of the draft. We talk about that. We look at Super Bowl odds, and we also look at win totals for the rest of the division. Let's get it. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge for a little DNVR Broncos Live. And substitute teacher in the building.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Zach's out. Main professor is out. That means it's a sub. Plan your book drops. We're just rolling in a projector. We're going to watch a movie.
Wow. I always treated substitute teachers really well. Did you?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought.
I wouldn't say that I treated them poorly.
Okay.
I just, took advantage of them.
Okay.
Is what Yaya said from the back. Of the situation, exactly. Maybe a little manipulation here and there, but never anything malicious.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
They never put like tax on the chairs or anything.
No, that's crazy. That's like assault.
That is assault.
Yeah, so nothing like that. It was more like, last week our teacher actually said we were doing class outside today. Now she's not here, but like we should do it outside anyway. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
See,
I was
friendly
terrified
lying
to do
between
that.
a few people, you know.
Yeah. I appreciated people like you though. You definitely made my life better.
So anyways, you guys can manipulate me all you want. Also, when the teacher is not here, it means we can talk about the Broncos drafting a wide receiver at 20 with no pushback.
It's true. That is actually true. Wow. For one day only, wide receiver, big need for the Broncos.
Yes. Obviously, Zach and I on opposite sides of this. You somewhere in the middle?
Yeah.
It's kind of how this pod usually works.
That's why you have three people.
Two people usually feel very strongly. The other person's
all
like,
somewhere.
I see both sides.
Both make good points. Don't know why you're all so upset.
The name that we're focusing on today was recently mocked to the Broncos by Mel Kiper.
Yes, one of many, but Mel Kiper being probably the biggest name.
Really quick sidebar on Mel Kiper.
Love this.
I've kind of come around on him.
Is it because he said that Travis Hunter has the best ball skills he's ever seen?
It certainly didn't hurt.
He repeated your take.
Yeah, he did. No, I think it's one of those things where like when you're around long enough, you like reach legend status, and then I just like inherently respect you. It's like a Tom Brady thing. Like I hated Tom Brady, just like emptying hate into Tom Brady for so long, and it's like, all right, yeah, you're pretty awesome. Like,
there was
congratulations.
When was it? It would have been either the playoffs in either 2018 or 2019. That I remember watching him, and I think it was the AFC Championship game in college with my friends, and the thought crossing my mind, like, we kind of have to appreciate this because we don't know if he's ever going to give this comeback. And then I just wanted to like throw myself off a bridge or something because that's not a thought. I'm not here to appreciate the people I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've also come around on Stephen A. Smith.
What about LeBron?
I've always pushed myself to respect LeBron. I just don't respect any Lakers, so we're on a break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just tried to. I actually did like him before we went to the Lakers. Even when we went back to the Cavs, I was like, you know what? That's hometown team. Do the right thing. And then he went to the Lakers, and I will not appreciate him.
I have the ultimate respect for LeBron. I just personally don't enjoy his game.
Okay.
Which is a hot take.
I think it is.
Anyways, Tetairoa McMillan is the player who was mocked to the Broncos by several sources, including Mel Kiper. And it's a fitting topic for you and I because we both like him. And I feel like I'm in the certainly in the upper quadrant of people that like Tetairoa McMillan. I think you're in the upper 1%.
Yeah. And it fluctuates, because a year ago I would have said just like everybody else, like this is a top 5 pick in the draft. Like, look at this guy, look at what he's doing. Like, how is this not the greatest receiver prospect we've seen in years, at least? You know, he's just special and he puts up numbers. Like, there's really no hole in his game. But for some reason, despite upping the numbers, he went from 1,400 yards to 1,300 yards. The numbers went down a bit this year. We now get to talk about him potentially at 20. So I think I am back up in the very top. Whereas last year I was like right around normal. I think I just haven't dipped.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And I'm always someone who wants to push back on like, well, why did this guy drop?
Mm-hmm.
And as recently as the last game of the season, I still think he was considered a top 10 pick.
Yep.
Why did he drop?
40 time is nothing special. Like, he's just not fast. And I think even that, when you say it, sounds wrong because you can watch him on tape, like catch a ball in stride and just keep running, or like run away from guys up the sideline. He has the long speed. He's just not bursty because he's almost 6'5".
Yeah. Here's an interesting little note from his NFL draft profile on NFL.com.
Okay. Those are good.
I like these a lot. Sources tell us, quote, he got hurt in the spring and I don't know if he ever made it back to 100%. The 2023 tape gives you a better idea of who he is. That comes from an AFC scouting director.
That's been kind of a rumor going around.
And that's just something that I feel like no one talks about.
Totally. No, it definitely makes you wonder, like, if it's lingered for a year now, is it just going to keep lingering? And there probably was a little bit more juice on the tape last year compared to this year. But again, like, he was a first-team All-American this year, 3rd in the nation in receiving. Like, he's a monster and was still that productive. Like, if there really is another notch, then that would be even more exciting.
And that's the crazy thing is there's this narrative that's widely accepted that he fell off.
Yeah.
His last year.
Yeah.
And it's so commonplace to hear that I've almost like accepted it in my mind too. Mm-hmm. And I will say on tape, it wasn't nearly as smooth. It wasn't nearly as easy.
Exactly.
But nothing that Arizona did was easy. They went from being a pretty good football team to a trash football team. Yep. They lost Jed Fish, who's kind of like a quarterback whisperer, in my opinion. Noah Fafita has a huge fall off. Their offense in general has a huge fall off. And so all of those things add up to being like, yeah, he had a huge fall off. He went from 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns, which is insane, to 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Yep. 90 catches to 84. It's not a huge drop off.
In all of the things that went wrong for Arizona, Tet McMillan's production is just not one of them.
Totally. And I mean, let's see, went to a bowl game in 2023, didn't in 2024, so I wouldn't be surprised if he also played one more game. That bowl game, by the way, against Oklahoma, 10 catches for 160 yards. Not even that surprising of a stat line because that's just what he did over and over again. He was their entire offense. Like, you just put him in the middle of the field, you put him up the sideline, whatever you wanted, you could ask him to do, and he would go do it and find a catch. Like, I wonder how many catches he had per game because it had to be at least like 8 or 9, which is ridiculous. Like, you just don't see that.
Yeah, and I'll just give the devil's advocate take on his production this year. Mm-hmm. He did have a 10-catch, 300-yard game with 4 touchdowns in the first game of the season.
Yep.
So you take that out, it's about 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns, which isn't nearly as exciting, but that did happen. And it wasn't against a total nobody. It was against New Mexico, who had their best season in years.
Totally.
So, if he had done that against NAU in the next week, I would say it's not as exciting. You know what he did against NAU somehow?
I do. I looked.
2 catches for 11 yards. What was their game plan? Because it's not like they blew them out by so much.
Then that's the thing.
They won 22-10 against NAU. That should have been the ultimate red flag that they were going nowhere fast.
Yep.
And he had 2 catches for 11 yards.
Yep.
Might as well have just fired the entire offensive staff that day.
You might as well. And the next game, he's back to 11 catches against a top 25 team.
They realized that they were being really dumb.
They did.
Later, he has 8 for 161 against Texas Tech, 10 for 202 and a tud against West Virginia, and then his last kind of big game, 9 for 115 against TCU. But constant production, and I just feel like when we're talking about upside, talent,
Yep.
freakish traits, a lot of the words that get thrown around heavily by people when someone is drafted in the top 10 of the draft all apply here to Tetairoa McMillan. I think he's an imperfect receiver with a lot of things to work on, but I think about if Josh Allen coming out was a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Imperfect quarterback, but so many traits that you just can't help yourself from being like, we could make something of this.
And then you throw in the fact that he's an All-American. Whereas
Yes.
like Josh Allen couldn't complete 60% of his passes. So you also have like the statistical case there too. I think, and this is NFL.com's comparison too, but Drake London is a guy who's very similar. Like just that dominance in the Pac-12 at the time where he was getting enough separation. He was jumping over guys. He's making plays all over the field. And now, Drake London had 100 catches last year, almost 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. Like that's the kind of receiver that you're looking at. I think
so quiet from Drake London.
Yeah, I mean, it's in Atlanta.
Yeah,
everything football is quiet in Atlanta. Somebody like that, I just wouldn't want to pass up. Because again, we talk about like an Emeka Egbuka, who's another good receiver. I think he's the kind of guy who like flirts with 1,000 yards consistently. You give him a good quarterback, it ticks over. You put him in a tough spot, might be in the 800s.
Yeah.
But with a guy like Tetairoa McMillan, first of all, the upside is he is your offense. In a like a Michael Thomas sort of way, where it's like, what are we doing? We're throwing the ball to Michael Thomas. Oh, he's doubled. Now where do we go? It depends on where how the double is working, like who's open.
Yeah.
And I feel like on the low end, he's also that kind of big-bodied, like Michael Pittman type. I'm not sure what his numbers are like, but again, it's like minimum 800, 900 yards on tough catches, with the upside of being a guy who pushes that 1,400 yards because he did it in less games last year. And I think that volume can hold up at this level because he's just such a freak.
Yeah. I brought this up with Shedeur Sanders recently on the Buffs podcast, and it's just the idea that, like, the school that he played for changes a lot.
Totally.
In my opinion, and this is aside from the point, so argue with me if you want. If Shedeur Sanders went to Georgia, he wins 1, maybe 2 national championships, and that team is unstoppable.
Yep.
He goes to Colorado in a full-on 100% rebuild, obviously with his dad, and it changes the way that people think about him because there's like, oh, he didn't win the big one. Well, it's like, yeah, he didn't have 5 draft picks on
Exactly.
both lines. I feel the same way about Tet McMillan. Last season, after Jed Fish left, first of all, Jed Fish expected him to just go to Washington with him.
Okay.
Decided not to. Kind of did like the honorable thing, if you will, and sticks at Arizona and says like, no, I started something here. I'm going to finish it out. And him and Noah Fafita made that decision seemingly together. He could have gone anywhere after the year he had in 2023. If he does, and he's not on that absolute train wreck of an Arizona team last year, we're probably just not having this conversation. He probably puts up the same production. He's going up against like bigger competition.
Yep.
Maybe it's a little less production because he's not the entire offense, but he's playing in big games.
Totally.
He's like mossing 5-star corners, and people are saying this guy's incredible.
Yep.
I think it makes a big difference.
Totally.
And it's unfortunately a negative mark for what everyone wants college sports to be. Because everyone wants to say, Tet McMillan, that's the right thing to do. He showed loyalty.
Yep. And it's like,
What did
he's
that
from
do for him?
Arizona. Like, is he really worth that pick?
What did the loyalty do for him other than lower his draft stock because they lost their coach and were trash?
Totally. Again, he's the type of prospect who I really like, where it's like 5-star recruit coming out. Everybody said like, this guy's the next star. He became the next star. What more could you really ask for? Like, he's checked every box, and there's no reason to think that this guy who 3-4 years ago we were saying this is going to be one of the top draft picks, he's going to go to the NFL and be dominant in the NFL. Like, he's just checking boxes along the way. One more thing. I think that this is similar to the tight end discussion. I think that because, again, Courtland Sutton kind of fills this role in some ways, the big receiver. But I think that Evan Ingram is sort of the Courtland Sutton of receiving tight ends.
Wow.
In terms of like similar ages, like similar longevity left, similar production. Ingram has 2 Pro Bowls. Sutton has the 1.
Evan
like,
is the Courtland Sutton of Jimmy Graham's.
Wow. Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that's why, like, if you're happy drafting a tight end in this spot and saying like, hey, we've got Evan for a couple more years, we'll see what happens. I think it's very similar to like Cortland Sutton. Like, we've got that guy there, and maybe there's room for both.
And I just keep coming back to Sean Payton's seeming obsession with big receivers.
Yeah, totally.
And then you've talked about the long torso thing that he likes, which fits Tetairoa McMillan really well. It's a lot of, I don't know. It's a lot of signs pointing towards him.
It is.
All signs for me always point towards
You really got him.
Toyota. Our friends over at Toyota are the best in the business when it comes to manufacturing cars. I have owned 2 other brands of cars, and neither of them even come close to my Toyota. Like, the amount of times I had to take my old cars into the shop compared to the amount of times I've had to take my Toyota into the shop, which is 0, is
pretty good.
Unbelievable. Like, that alone.
Maybe touch some wood.
No, I don't have to.
Wow. Here's a Toyota.
Toyota's that reliable, that trustworthy. I'm not even worried about that. It's just unbelievable. Like, that alone, that convenience. Taking your car into the shop has to be one of the worst things. Like, it's going to cost a bunch. You're not going to know what they're talking about.
Yep.
You're probably going to get taken.
Yep.
And
I always do.
That just never happens at Toyota because their cars are so reliable. People have dropped in the chat like 200,000 on their miles on their Toyota, 300,000. One person actually said they had 600,000 miles on their Toyota and it was still running.
How long would that take? I mean, you're pushing 1 million.
Yeah. So that's actually true.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe they're like big on cross country road trips.
Yeah. Or like you share the car.
Yeah. Possible. Anyways, if you're looking to get a Toyota and have the best car on the road, then go visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota, Eastern Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
And shout out to Red Hawk Roofing, potentially related to Broncos punter Matt Hawk, for all we know.
Possible.
Could be named after his brother Red. There's a chance. Red Hawk Roofing, they're the best in town. Been the best in town for a long time. Roofs are really important. You know, we on this podcast talk often about investing in the things that keep you off the ground. You know, good shoes, good that sort of stuff. I think that there's a case to be made that keeping what keeps you inside,
keeping things from the sky off of you.
Yeah, no, like we're big fans of that. And Red Hawk Roofing understands the importance. You should go with the pros, make checking your roof a part of your spring cleaning routine. You can catch any issues or repairs before they get out of hand. There's no project that's too small for them. They're your go-to for everything from minor repairs to full roof replacement. They use great materials. They have great relationships that they've had for years with some of their clients. Decades of experience, quick response time, the best estimators and contractors in Colorado. Our favorite part, that they're big fans of us and support us. They will give you a free, no obligation roof and property inspection, free in-depth photo report for all of the inspections. Remember, you can't always see how bad the damage to your roof is from the ground. Supporting your local teams means also supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. If you are looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921 and tell them DNVR sent you.
All right, moving along here. Was it Friday we were talking win totals?
Yes.
And we were planning on talking through the AFC West.
Yes.
And just never got to it.
No, we did not.
So I wanted to circle back. The Broncos were at 9.5.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And just see kind of where Vegas has the lines for the other teams in the division.
Mm-hmm.
So lead us.
Well, let's start with the Chargers, because off the top of my head, I remember they're also at 9.5.
Okay.
Initial reaction, 9.5.
Right spot.
Okay.
Yeah. As I'm famously the Jim Harbaugh non-believer of this show.
Famously.
And so I think they're just going to continue to be the Chargers. There's nothing that he can do to uncharger them. And the Chargers are going to be right around 9 or 10 wins and then either not just miss the playoffs or lose in the first round.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I think that's probably fair. Obviously, big addition is Najee Harris. Are we concerned?
No. Najee Harris, like, again, we've talked about him a lot, weirdly.
We have.
Good running back. He's a good running back.
He is a good running back.
That's all I could say for him.
Even good might be a stretch.
Passable, acceptable, replacement level?
I'd say he is a starting running back.
Starting, there you go.
You list out 32 running backs, he's one of those 32.
You think if like they did running back war, his would just be like 0.0?
Yeah. No, I think he's like a dead on, like, at least he does it.
For those of you who don't follow baseball, don't blame you.
True.
WAR stands for wins above replacement, which is a cool stat that I think is overly relied on.
It was really cool like 15 years ago.
But I just like the concept of the stat.
Yes.
How much better are you than just the average guy?
Yep. Wins above replacement. It's just like it's better for conversation than it is as an actual stat.
Yes.
Yes.
His is 0.0, we determined.
0.0 WAR. He is an average player. Also bring in Mekhi Becton. That could be an awesome signing for them.
Yes.
I think that's just like the perfect, what's his name? Jim Harbaugh signing to bulk up the offensive line with like a 360-pound guard.
Well, and Mekhi Becton been injured his entire career. Mm-hmm. Then he just happens to stay healthy for 1 year, and the Eagles win a Super Bowl.
And where does he go? The Chargers.
Who was advising him?
Exactly. No, they have the worst
Let's
injury
go to
luck
the
in
most
NFL.
cursed team in the NFL.
Terrible. But yeah, I mean, it should be good for him. Well, let's do it this way. Mekhi Becton, they bring in Dante Jackson, $6.5 million a year, speedy corner. Najee Harris, they bring back Mike Williams. They sign Tyler Conklin. A bunch of guys who are just kind of like, yeah, they're starters. Zero win replacement. They also bring in Trey Lance. Of all those moves, is there one that you think is the best?
Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but again, like many of these free agency moves, it's a gamble on health. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the Chargers can't even stop their own health staff from injuring their players.
No, they literally hurt their own players.
Yes. So I can't say I have a lot of faith in that working out for them.
That is crazy. Like the people whose job it is to get them healthy,
make them less healthy.
Yeah. It's just totally backwards.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. They're definitely becoming more Harbaugh-y. I kind of wonder if there's like a ceiling to that. I think that building this way makes them a better playoff team. Like when you just get bigger and stronger, like you got bigger and stronger at tight end, at guard, at running back. Mike Williams is a perfect example of that too. Like that, it's a smart way to build for late season games. I just don't know that I buy that it works. Like Justin Herbert is still your quarterback. You're still going to be throwing the ball a bunch. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think that they're potentially like trying to make Justin Herbert less the star. Mm-hmm. And as much as I'm also a Justin Herbert non-believer, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like putting the ball in Najee Harris's hands more than Justin Herbert's. Does that make sense?
I mean, you have a 0 WAR running back going behind a plus WAR offensive line, but you would imagine that also show up in like the passing game when you have more time to throw the ball. So maybe that cancels out. And your receivers, Quentin Johnston, I was able to name one, Mike Williams. So that's negative WAR receivers. So the question is, does Justin Herbert's positive WAR cancel out the receiver's negative WAR?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what were the Bills receivers last year? Not to say that Justin Herbert is as good as Josh Allen because he's not even close.
You had Khalil Shakir.
You had kind of their guy.
Yep. You didn't have Gabe Davis anymore. You didn't have Stephon Diggs. Oh, you had that guy who I hate, Mac Hollins. Yeah. He's a good receiver, but boy, do I hate him.
Great bit commitment.
Totally. His whole thing is just a bit.
Yeah, he's really committed to his bit.
Yeah. I'm sure there's another good one. But
the Chargers have McConkey too.
Oh, and McConkey. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be at least 60-40 pass to run.
Yep. Probably. They lost Joey Bosa. Do we care?
It probably doesn't help them.
Yeah, but he also never really played anyway.
Yeah, that's what being a Charger is.
Exactly. He got $12 million to go to the Bills. Seems a bit high for a guy who...
The Bills are known for doing this.
You get off of Vaughn's contract and all of a sudden you go and just sign
Do
Joey
the same
Bosa.
thing.
Yeah.
But worse.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Chargers? Are you taking over or under?
I'll take... Give me the over. I think like the running game, while it might not be great, you go up against like let's just say the Jags, a decent team, a 6-7 win team, you're just going to run all over them. Like it's that easy. And I think that's the value of what they've done is that when you play a bad team, those wins are a lot easier. When it comes time to actually pull off upset, like can they compete with the Bills? No, they can't compete with the Bills. They can't compete with but I think it's enough that they're going to, like they'll win their 4 easiest games and then maybe go 500 in the rest.
Okay. I'm going to take the under, obviously. I always take the under on the Chargers.
Smart.
I'll say this, and I don't want to speak this into existence because I think it's messed up, so I'm just going to... You'll catch my drift.
Okay.
The Chargers are cursed.
They are cursed, yes.
They always get injuries.
They do.
There's one injury that they haven't gotten yet.
That is true.
I'm not trying to speak this into existence. I'm not wishing it upon anyone. I'm just saying the clock in my head tells me
it's time.
That one's coming.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong. Where, as a Broncos fan, where do we not want them to go in the draft?
What pick are they have?
They are 22.
22. I wouldn't want to see them get Tetairoa McMillan.
Yeah, no, honestly, that might be the answer. I don't even know who their edge rushers are. They have this Deshaun Hand. Oh, yeah, Deshaun Hand, Tuli Pelotu, Khalil Mack still. I think if they got like a James Pierce Jr.,
yeah,
he could get super hot.
Yep.
I just can't be scared of the Chargers.
I can't either. There's really, they're not in a great position to make a scary pick.
No.
But Tetairoa McMillan, I wouldn't like it.
I agree. Yeah.
Especially, with getting McConkey, who actually was kind of sick last year.
Yeah, no, McConkey was dope.
Yaya from across the room is yelling Colston Loveland. Wouldn't move me an inch.
No, it'd probably be a good pick. Like right now, they'd signed Tyler Conklin. That's right. They've got Will Dissly, Montanan as his backup. Sure, take Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
We'll suffer in 4 years if that's the case. If it pans out. Yeah. All right. Those are the Chargers.
That was the Chargers. We are soon going to hit Chiefs?
Sure.
Raiders?
Let's do Raiders first. We can save the Chiefs for last.
We'll go Raiders first. But first, a shout out to Kurz Lat.
That's right.
I went to a Masters block party yesterday.
I saw that.
Which was epic. I've never felt better about the future of golf. The fact that everyone not everyone in the Highlands, but hundreds of people in the Highlands gathered together to watch the Masters on a giant screen outside.
That's pretty sick.
And drink a whole bunch of Coors Lights.
Wow.
So that was a really fun event. And there's never a bad time for a Coors Light.
No.
But that setting, outside, golf course, patio on a Friday, Coors Light just hits different. Of course, at Coors Field. It's just one of the best beers for like soaking in a good time. Soaking in a good
It
day.
really is. Yeah, we were at the Nuggets game, the last Nuggets game, which is fun because like afterward they throw all the balls to the crowd. They like sign the ball, throw it.
Get one?
No, especially from Nikola because he was literally like handing the ball to children. So you have like Christian Brown out there is just like chucking it as far as he can, and you got Nikola saying like, no, "You right there," and just giving a little toss.
That's nice.
That was a good night, especially with a bunch of Coors Lights.
Quick sidebar, sorry.
I love sidebars.
One time I was at a Buffs game when I was pretty young, probably like 12, and they threw a ball into the stands, and like in my head I jumped like 3 feet in the air to like snag it, and I was so hype, and then I just hear like soft whimpering from behind me of just this little girl who was on her dad's shoulders, and I just jumped up and snagged it, and I was just like, sorry. Like, gave the ball.
No. There was like one kid who was walking up the stairs right in front of us who was carrying a ball. And I was really curious who signed the ball. I was like, I'm not going to talk to a kid right now.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't just ask kids questions.
Okay, fair
you
enough.
don't know the kid.
Anyways, if you're having a good time, you want to make it even better, hit up our friends over at Coors Light. CoorsLight.com/DNVR. You can have it delivered straight to your door. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And we've got something new and cool at DNVR. Seems like we say that a lot because we always have a bunch of cool new things that we do. Right now, the Ball Knower bonus. Essentially, the way it works is you get a chance to win a gift card to the DNVR merch store, and all you got to do is you make your pick. So I think the first question is, where will Travis Hunter be picked in the draft? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. It's 1, 2. It's 2 options. It's first or second or third or later. If you pick it right, and then you make your pick, you place an order of $25 or more at the merch shop. Then if your pick is correct, which you'll find out a couple weeks after the order, you get a gift card to the store that matches the amount of the original order. So essentially it's 2 for 1 if you make the pick right.
It's pretty sick.
And when I was told about this, I was thinking it'd be like first pick, second pick, third pick. Like you'd have to make your pick of like the first 7 or whatever he could be. Instead, they held it down to 2, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, great merch. Ryan's wearing my favorite of the shirts right there. So again, for all ball knowers, make your pick, place an order. If you pick correctly, you're going to get a gift card from us for the same as your order. That's a ball knower bonus at DNVR. And one important thing, you have to click the link in the chat or in our show notes to qualify for the gift card. So you have to like go through here to get there to be able to do it.
Pays to no ball?
Pays to no ball.
Go to store.allcitynetwork.com.
Yes.
All right. Let's move along here and go Raiders.
Yeah, let's go Raiders. So they made some moves. Obviously, starting with Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Is that important?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree.
It raises their floor.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yep.
I don't like the way they handled the Antonio Pierce situation, but who's surprised that the Raiders didn't handle a situation right?
That was crazy. So they have Rich Bisaccia come in as the interim head coach, and he's incredible. And everybody says like, "Wow, you should have hired him." They don't hire him; they let him walk. And then they bring in
Josh McDaniels.
They bring in Josh McDaniels instead, who sucked, was terrible. He gets fired. Antonio Pierce comes in as the interim, and they're like, "Well, we screwed up last time. We should hire our interim head coach to be our full-time head coach," but they did it with the wrong guy.
Yep.
Ugh, so dumb.
And then they pulled the plug on that too early.
Yep.
How old is Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll is 73, I'm going to guess.
That's just far too old to be starting a new
73,
job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you give him? 4 years?
Yeah. I mean, you don't coach past 77, right?
Obviously, he's a really young 73.
Maybe the youngest 73-year-old alive.
Yeah.
Not knowing all of them, obviously. How old was Wade Phillips when he was a defensive coordinator?
I don't know, but like my parents are significantly younger than that.
Wade Phillips is 77 right now.
Yeah.
Oof.
And I can't imagine my parents leading an NFL franchise at this age.
No. No. But then in my mind, I keep lowering my parents' ages, and I never get to a point where I'm like, yeah, I'd hire them.
Yeah. With all due respect.
Yeah. With all due respect. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, it's time to start winding down, Pete.
It really is
Not
time to start
winding up.
No, but he is so wound up. Win totals at 6.5. They bring in, let's see, the biggest contract they gave out was to Jeremy Chin.
Bigger than Geno Smith? Oh, they haven't.
Oh, no, they haven't extended him. So there's the trade. But yeah, in terms of contracts, they've got that. Alex Kappa, the guard, gets 5 per year. Eric Stokes, the bust corner from the Packers. What a move for them, right? Like, that is total Raiders to see, like, oh, first round bust from the Packers, Georgia guy. Let's sign him and see if we can fix him. It seems like they do that all the time.
And like, what would give you any inkling that you could fix somebody?
I have no idea. Landon Roberts, Lonnie Johnson, Raheem Mostert, Ian Thomas, Lakai Fotu, Devin White. We can fix them. Like that. That's not a free agent class that really is intimidating.
No, it's not. Jeremy Chin's a good player though.
He is.
And Geno is better than whatever the hell they were putting out there last year at quarterback.
That is true. But also, so you get Jeremy Chin for $8 million a year. You lost Trayvon Merrick for $17 million a year. So the market would say downgrade. Lost Nate Hobbs, who got $12 million a year. 4 years, $48 million to the Packers. You bring in Eric Stokes, who is worse for less. Same position.
Man, great points there. Can we do that for the Broncos? Not right now.
Yeah.
I want to see the money in versus money out
comparison. No, it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
I think they were seventh in the NFL in total money spent since the end of the Super Bowl.
And like, they didn't lose anyone that would have gotten a big contract.
No. So net, they'd be up even higher.
Yeah. This team just doesn't scare me at all.
No.
Other than the fact that it's sometimes hard to go win on the road there.
Yep. For the Broncos.
Yeah.
For most teams, maybe not so much. For the Broncos, yes.
Yeah, it's like, okay, are they going to be able to put together a competent game plan? I'll say this. The person who scared me most about the Raiders for a long time was Josh Jacobs.
Yep. He does not exist now.
He's not there.
Nope.
And so what would even worry you about them?
Jeez. I mean, it'd be Max Crosby.
Okay.
And it'd be, I guess, with Christian Wilkins too. You've got a nice duo up front, interior, outside, and then you also have Brock Bowers. But I don't know. I can only be so afraid of a tight end. He's not Gronk.
No, he's not. I'm going under here, and I'm going to say it goes significantly under.
Okay.
So it's 6.5?
6.5.
I'm going to say they're a 4-win football team.
Even with Geno?
Yeah.
I will also take the under. But maybe Geno cancels out all that stuff. And Pete Carroll, too. Like, there's a chance that just, like, what they have turns out to... The sum becomes equal to the parts. Whereas in the past, the parts were more than the
sum was less than the parts.
Yes. The sums and the parts.
I'm just so... I just can't imagine this Pete Carroll thing working.
It is really tough to imagine. Is it just the age, though? Because for me, it's just the age.
For me, it's that they've done this with John Gruden.
They have.
Where did that get them?
Well, if he hadn't sent those emails, then... No.
What do you mean it kind of worked?
So, okay. They've been to the playoffs twice since they lost the Super Bowl in 2002. One of them was Gruden's final season, which he was fired partway through for the emails.
So what are we talking about here? It kind of worked.
So
they were paying him at the time the most anyone had ever paid a coach, which was 10 years, $100 million.
Yep.
He worked, 3 of those?
3.5.
3.5. He still got all $100 million.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs once when he wasn't even coaching the team.
Yep. Yeah, so it's a 6-win team before he took over. He got them to 4, and then 7, and then 8, and then they finished 10-7, lost in the wild card round the year he got axed. Okay, I mean it's as close as they've gotten to something working.
Yeah, so they're trying to go back to that well. Do we know what they paid Pete Carroll?
I don't think we do.
Okay.
That's where like Gruden's the kind of guy who's gonna like leak exactly how much money he gets.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, not really that type.
Well, and that was like, I think the Raiders wanted that out there because they're like, look, we're not poor.
Yeah, but they are.
Yeah.
Is the funny thing. Draft wise, I mean, the only thing that could scare you is Genty, right?
Yeah. But like I said, I've seen the Raiders with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
And it certainly was scary for the Broncos, but not for anyone else.
Totally. I mean, it's a start. I mean, the receivers as of right now appear to be Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and Raymond Keaton.
Okay.
That's a new name to me. Tyreek McAllister, former Broncos running back, would be next up at receiver. So that's, I mean, so you could make the case that like that could be the route you go.
Do they go Tetairoa McMillan?
Honestly, maybe. If Genty's there, you'd feel like that gives you at least the more relevant bump.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like Russ and DK or Geno and DK. Like,
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
like a thing, a formula that
Yep.
somewhat worked in Seattle.
Yeah, that could work. You could go get like another pass rusher to pair with Crosby. Unless you really like Malcolm Kuntz. Personally, I don't. You could really get just about whatever you want.
What if they went the Gronk, Aaron Hernandez route and went Tyler Warren?
Well, so you'll remember that last year they took Brock Bowers in the first round. The year before they took Michael Mayer in the second round from Notre Dame.
Okay.
So, I mean, 3 straight years.
Aren't they trying to trade him, I heard?
I'm not sure if that's that they're trying to trade him or everybody thinks they probably should.
Okay.
Sometimes those get a little mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
Under 6.5.
By the way, I think that because Josh Jacobs was with the Raiders for his entire first contract and no more.
Yes, that is correct. He was a free agent.
Let me look at Josh Jacobs' accomplishments.
Yeah. He is accomplished. You have to give him that.
I know. And that's why I just want to. Okay, so Josh Jacobs is a 3-time Pro Bowler, a first-team All-Pro, and has won the NFL rushing title.
Uh-huh.
He was also the 2019 Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I have a really hard time imagining Ashton Genty having a more accomplished beginning of his career than that.
I don't have quite as hard of a time imagining it, but you should probably bet against it.
So, just, I know there's a lot of like fear of them potentially getting Genty, and there's a lot of arrows pointing that way. How's they going to outperform that? And
where did
with
that
that
get them?
it got them nowhere.
4 wins.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, you really are leaning on Pete Carroll and Geno, which is something, of course, the Seahawks did not want to do.
Wow. That's a really accomplished beginning of his career. And
That
none of
is.
that. Oh, I guess he did make the Pro Bowl last year. So one less Pro Bowl with
Okay.
the Raiders.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, they let one of the best running backs in the NFL walk
Yeah.
when they had nothing.
It's going to be hard to replicate that. Just saying.
They did sign Raheem Mostert this offseason.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a 33-year-old with some speed.
By the way, earlier you were talking about Dante Jackson.
Yeah.
And you said like speedy corner.
Yeah.
Did you say that because his Madden speed is really high?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm sure it is.
Right when you said his name, I was like, oh yeah, speedy corner. And then you're like, the speedy corner.
Yeah, no, I mean, that
Because
was...
he has like a 96 Madden speed.
Raheem Mostert really is 33. If it's not him, it's Sincere McCormick or Zamir White.
Wow.
They've got to get Genty.
McCormick's first name is Sincere?
Yes.
Buffs just got a commitment from a guy named Sincere, and I thought that was the first time I'd ever heard that.
New trend.
Yeah.
Wow. That happened to me when it was a Target, I want to say, or Macy's. And I was there with my grandpa when I was really little. And we were walking into like the kids' clothes section, and there was a shirt with the Hulk on it. And I was like, what's that? And he told me what the Hulk was. And then next thing you know, it's like, it was right before that Hulk movie came out. And so then it's like, wait, there's the Hulk there.
Oh, it's
there's like Hulk action figures. Oh, a Hulk video, like Hulk everywhere I went, starting with that moment. After not hearing for the Hulk for my entire like 5 years of existence before that.
Yeah, I think they call that like the red car theory or something.
Call it the Sincere theory.
They should. It's like you don't feel like you see that many red cars, and then you buy a red car, and then every car looks red to you. after that.
Interesting.
Or you notice all of the red cars, and it seems like there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
shall we
yeah.
move on to the Chiefs here?
The Chiefs. Win total set at 11.5. I mean, probably where it should be.
Yeah.
Safe bets, honestly, I think probably the over.
Yep.
Again, we're still just kind of waiting on that downfall. I thought last year would be the year. I think I thought the year before that would also be the downfall. Hasn't quite
By the
happened
way,
yet.
shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles, man.
Yes. Thank you, Eagles.
If they didn't do that, like I would have just fallen to my knees.
Yep.
Like if the Chiefs could win with that roster, we were all just so screwed.
Yes.
Win the Super Bowl, that is. They
Yes.
did win a lot. But thank God the Eagles didn't let that happen.
Thank goodness. Biggest loss, defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton, $15 million a year to the Panthers, more than I would have thought.
Yeah.
$10 million a year for Justin Reid, $5 million a year for DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Watson, Josh Uche, Samaje Perine, Mecole Hardman. I mean,
All of those people are gone?
all of them gone.
Okay.
Them like losing Justin Reid hurts.
Mm-hmm. Quite a bit, because that was their Honey Badger replacement.
That was. Losing a $15 million a year defensive tackle, I'd imagine, would hurt.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, Mecole Hardman did nothing. That's probably where the list ends of hurts.
Yeah, but what are they doing at wide receiver?
So they brought back Juju Smith-Schuster. That's their only move. So starters Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, with Sky Moore, Justin Ross, Juju Smith-Schuster on the bench. For 4, 5, and 6, I like your 4, 5, 6 for what they are.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, maybe a little underwhelming.
I feel like they just don't have a reliable target there.
Yeah. I mean, you're banking on being Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got worse.
He did.
If he got worse last year, you'd imagine he'll get worse again this year.
That's true. He could have been in that like early relationship, like where you kind of let yourself go phase.
He did let himself go. Like, yeah, he was not focused on football.
And then, you could be back to like the health and wellness phase of the relationship.
No, that's an important phase. Very important phase. Offensive line. Jalen Moore, Kingsley Suamatia, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Juwan Taylor. So I guess left tackle is the only huge hole there.
It's a big place to have a hole.
It is a really big place to have a hole.
Who'd you have starting for them there?
Jalen Moore, who is a free agent from San Francisco.
And they put some big money into him, didn't they?
Jalen Moore. Yeah, most expensive free agent. 2 years, $30 million total. Yeah, $15 million a year left tackle is not a good left tackle.
What's crazy to me is they lost. They got blown out in the Super Bowl by the Bucs.
Yep.
And they just like blew up their offensive line and started all over. And they actually like nailed it, which annoyed me. Now they get blown out in the Super Bowl, and then their move is to trade away their best offensive lineman.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, again, with Tooney, he was the highest paid interior lineman in the NFL, I want to say, or right up there. And then they made Trey Smith the highest paid interior lineman in the NFL. So, and then Creed Humphrey, Pro Bowler, All Pro, all that sort of stuff at center. He's going to be way up there. I'm not sure if they've given him the deal yet. So I guess I understand, like, there's only so many resources to go around. Yeah. But
has anyone checked to make sure they aren't over the cap?
I don't know. Somebody should do that.
Someone should look into that.
Somebody really should just check.
Like, how can they have the highest paid quarterback, the highest paid tight end, the higgest paid interior offensive lineman, the second highest paid
Somebody
interior
should check.
Just feels like an audit is in order.
It does. It really feels that way. They brought Christian Fulton in, the cornerback, $10 million a year from the Chargers. Brought in Elijah Mitchell, $2.5 million running back from the 49ers. Jerry Tillery, they signed him. Offensive lineman for the Broncos 2 years ago. I want to say the Chargers had just cut him and he went on waivers, or maybe the Chargers claimed him off waivers. He said, "How does this guy keep getting jobs? That's the worst player in the NFL."
Who did you say that about?
Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle, now with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I unfortunately have to go over here.
Yep, me too.
It just it hasn't seemed to matter.
It just doesn't matter. Like, you take Patrick Mahomes off this team. I mean, Pacheco's a good running back, like better than Najee. Kareem Hunt is your number 2. That's good. You bring in Elijah Mitchell. You have Travis Kelce. Like, those receivers are fine at least. Maybe Xavier Worthy pans out. Like, it isn't a terrible roster.
Let me put it this way: if I told you right now, if the Broncos win 12 games this year, they're in a tiebreaker to win the AFC West. You feel like things went pretty well for them.
Yes, definitely.
And that's still the Chiefs going over here. Like,
it is.
11 games isn't winning the AFC West.
No, it isn't.
So there we go.
Yeah, boy, does that suck. Is there anything we don't want to see them draft with pick 31?
Tetairoa McMillan.
Yeah, T-Mac is the answer once again.
I mean, it feels like they always get like some exciting player and these at the end here. It's like they're really fast or they're, I don't know, good.
Yeah. Oof, Matthew Golden could be good for him. Similar in some ways to Xavier Worthy, Hollywood. Like you're really leaning into your type, but
aren't both Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown under 6 feet though?
Yeah.
What did Matthew Golden come in at?
I think like 5'10",
Oh, okay.
180 something.
Yeah, they can't do that again.
Probably not. Cornerbacks, they're starting Christian Fulton, who they signed with Shamari Connor and Trent McDuffie. Maybe there. Safeties.
What corner is going to be available at 31?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if the Will Johnson slide is for real. Otherwise, maybe like Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame slips up there. Safeties are Jaden Hicks and Brian Cook. Maybe it's Emin Wari or Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks is like a Derwin type.
I love that the Chiefs are in draft for need mode. They have a lot of needs.
They do.
They can't, honestly, they can't afford to draft Matthew Golden.
No, they're too needy.
Yeah. They have plenty of small speed receivers.
They do. I'll say Malachi Starks is the one I don't want to see.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
All right, you want to hit Super Bowl odds real quick before we get to the comments?
Sure. Who do you think the favorite is?
The favorite to win the Super Bowl is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, plus 650. Who's second?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Three-way tie, actually. Can you name the two other teams?
Bills.
Yep.
Ravens.
Yep. Those are the three. One team right behind them.
It's got to be Is it an AFC team?
You can get it. I don't want to give you any hints. Don't read that one way or the other. Because you can get this, and I want you to nail this top 5.
Oh, man.
I have a feeling if I say it, you're going to be like, oh, how did I not think of this?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other good teams, and I'm just blanking. Go
The
ahead.
Lions.
Oh, I wouldn't have gone there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I probably could have gotten to it if I went through
Yep.
every division in my head.
Yeah.
But they're just such chokers that how could I think
That's
of
true.
them there?
And so the Lions are plus 850. Then there's the drop off to the 49ers at plus 1600. And the
What
Commanders.
are the 49ers doing there?
49ers, Commanders, Bengals, Packers, Rams. I guess they're in a tie. 49, like
One of these things is not like the other.
Commanders goes in front.
Yep.
You take the Bengals over the 49ers.
Yeah, easily.
The Packers over the 49ers?
Yes,
Rams.
absolutely.
Next up is the Chargers.
That's where they belong.
Okay.
A little above the Chargers.
And
Well, the
then
Chargers
there's-
don't belong there anyway.
And then there's a tie between the Vikings and the Broncos, plus 3,000.
All right. Gotta remind myself to get in on that.
Yes, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Tied for 12th.
So I've been seeing other people like make these crazy parlays that are just like they span over a long time
Yep.
and they like have an opportunity to go super big.
Yep.
And I just am jealous whenever I see someone that's like, I got the first leg.
Exactly.
Like, all I need is Duke to win the Natty.
Dodgers
like
win the World Series.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the one I got today, Rory to get the Grand Slam,
Oh, boy. What were the odds?
not that good. Plus 3,300.
Yeah, I would have hoped for better.
With Avs to win the Stanley Cup,
So you're looking at like
now it's plus
4,000?
33,000.
33,000. Okay. 30. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like it.
So like, I'm assuming the timing will like line up pretty well with the NHL playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we, a month away from the PGA?
Yeah. I'm not sure the exact date, but about that.
So like, if the Avs are cruising through the playoffs and then Rory wins the PGA, like,
you think you're going to be hot. Yep. 1 month away exactly
yeah.
from tomorrow.
By the way, just quick Masters takeaway. I think it moved into number 1 in my favorite sporting event slot this weekend.
I'm trying to think of what would be number 2.
It's March Madness.
Yeah.
For
Like
me,
the first 2
but like
days.
March Madness was so underwhelming. Yeah, the first
True.
weekend.
Yeah.
Because you got to like have a similar.
Honestly, the Final Four never really lives up to my expectations.
No, it was better this year, I think.
It was. Yeah.
And that was like everyone's thing, like the games at
But
the
the
end will
first
be
couple
great. And I
days-
was like, I don't want that. It's not as meaningful to me.
No, I'm here for the chaos.
The Masters was just
Yeah.
literally perfect sports drama with like clutch, with choking, with it was just
Yeah.
it was so good.
It was so
it hit
good.
every box.
It really did. I mean, that's the greatest 4 days of the year. I wonder, because the Super Bowl, honestly, to me, wouldn't be that high on the list.
Mm-mm.
And
And that's what I was thinking. Like, so I gave that take to Allie this morning.
Yeah.
She's like, even more than like the NBA or NHL playoffs, and I was like, well, you can't say the whole
That's the tough
playoffs. That's
part.
not fair.
It'd be the final.
So then that's what I said. The final. If my team's in it, yeah, it's the best thing ever.
Exactly.
If they're not, I'm like only half interested.
Yeah. I guess
The
maybe
Super
I'm
Bowl would
skewed
be-
Super Bowl wise because it's always the Chiefs, which I specifically don't like. But like Chiefs, Eagles, I don't know. Like watching that game compared to watching the Masters, you take the Masters every single time.
Most people would disagree with
Is that
both
true?
of us, but
Okay.
I would watch the final. I would watch the final round of the Masters over a Chiefs and someone else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder how much of that's just like the Super Bowl is a fun day. Like you hang out with a bunch of people, you have like the snacks, like the halftime show, all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't quite match the intensity level of watching a Super Bowl the way most Americans watch a Super Bowl just doesn't match the Masters because it's such like a casual sports experience in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And there's so many there's 12 storylines going on at once.
Yeah.
In the Masters.
And it's just chaos and you don't know what's going to happen and there are meltdowns and there's
Were you rooting for Rory?
Oh yeah. Rory's my favorite.
Okay.
Like Rory's I grew up I caught the end of the Tiger era and then Rory was supposed to take over but never quite did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been like a Rory fan, but then specifically recently, big Rory guy.
Yeah. I was pulling for him once my bets were out of contention.
Fair. Yep.
I had Bryson.
Yeah.
And so once Bryson was dead, and then I also, just as a sports fan, I'm rooting for the playoffs. So I kind of wanted him to miss the
fair.
putt on 18.
Yeah.
Even though I wanted him to win the tournament, I'm like, I want more. I want more Masters. But I was really happy for him when he won, and the mental fortitude it took to overcome everything that he did over the whole weekend. I mean, first player ever to make 4 doubles and win the Masters.
Crazy.
If he doesn't make those doubles, he wins this thing with a crazy score.
Totally.
And people are like, oh, it's actually too easy for him. That didn't count.
Yeah. No, and it's just such a Masters to him means so much more than it would to anybody else out there. Because Masters for him is he is now one of the greatest golfers of all time. He is the best European golfer of all time. There's just so many titles that all just flood in because he did that.
And that
and the expectations from the time he was on TV shows as a child is a prodigy.
And it would have been a hotly debated topic, but before yesterday, you could have said that his career was a disappointment.
Totally.
Because it had been 10 years or whatever since he won a major. Now that's out the window.
Yep.
You can't ever say that.
Now he's great.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to
What a
the
day.
questions here before we get out of here. Got a super chat from East Coast Kev, who just says, shout out to RK.
There we go.
That's the
How
best
do we
super
answer
chat I've
that?
ever seen.
Yeah, that's a good one. Shout out to RK. I
Appreciate
agree.
you, East Coast Kev.
Oh,
Anything else from the people? People are quiet today, huh?
people are quiet. The dogs
Monday.
aren't barking.
Takes a minute for everyone's
Should-
brains to get back in the swing of things.
Broncos aside, what's the best bet? If you had to take one Super Bowl bet.
So read me the top 10.
Eagles plus 650, Ravens plus 700, tied with the Bills and Chiefs. Lions plus 850, and then you hit 1,600 for the Niners, 1,800 Commanders, 1,800 Bengals, 2,200 for the Rams and Packers. Then Chargers, Vikings.
Ravens? I don't even know. I don't like any of the bets.
I agree. Eagles might be the answer.
I don't think they're doing it again.
I don't either. But I don't think the Chiefs are going to do it. Maybe that's the real answer, but I don't want it. The Bills, I have no faith that they can actually do it. The Ravens.
The reason
even
I
less than
said
the
Ravens
Bills.
is I feel like there's this maybe I've been hearing too many MVP conversations, but I feel like it's their turn.
Yeah, it does. I mean, again, they just have the superstar offense paired with a really good defense.
It's at some point this has to work. At some point,
Yeah.
Josh Allen's going to get a break in a game against Patrick Mahomes.
And Lamar Jackson keeps doing that thing where he just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
I think that's an underrated part. It's like the Nikola Jokic thing where it's somehow every single year for the past 10 years, probably for his entire life, he's gotten better at basketball. Lamar is doing that still. And at this point, I'm ready to bet that he's just going to be even better next year than he was last year.
People saying Broncos. Henry did give me the caveat that I can't pick the Broncos. I will say.
Yeah.
I like the
30 to 1?
value.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, every team should be 32 to 1 because there's 1 in 30, or I guess it'd be 31 to 1. Broncos are 30 to 1. So slightly below average odds which means they expect slightly better chance. I think that better than average is the right answer for the Broncos.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty easy decision, honestly.
It's a stars align with health and all that stuff, but that's how every team wins the Super Bowl.
If it's Ashton Genty, then I see it.
I mean,
if you need something to happen on offense where you're just like, oh my goodness.
Do you think
1,400-yard rusher? Boom, that could do it.
Do you think there's any chance that someone in the building is saying the same thing?
I do.
Right.
I actually think that the answer is yes. Oh yeah. Also, we're on overtime. We might just be done.
We're going to overtime for like 3 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I think somebody in the building is more than willing to say if we get Ashton Genty, we go from 30-1 to 10-1, 12-1.
If that's the case, then you make the trade that we've been building.
Yeah.
And you probably would go higher than that.
Yeah, and that's why I think they probably should.
That would be fun.
I stand by my draft plan. Trade 3 firsts to the Titans for Travis Hunter. They say no. You just keep offering it to whoever's up next until Travis is off the board. Then you change it to a first, a second, next year's third, until Genty's off the board. And if that gets you Genty with the 5th pick, great. If it gets you Genty with the 19th pick, great. But that's the plan.
Well, if it gets to 19, you don't need to offer that much.
18 said no to it. Maybe that's the value.
That's fair enough. 18 said no. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right. I also didn't mind. Someone said Commanders. I didn't mind Commanders as a value there, but I think they're probably due for a little regression.
Yep, I would agree. Probably, but they could just get better.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us today on DNVR Broncos. Zach, back tomorrow?
We hope.
We hope.
Still TBD.
I think he's back tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
We all silly like the mayor.